Hi, Gerhard Bloom, once again looking at the tyranny and the delusions of the social justice movement. So, tyranny and some delusions here. First, the obvious tyranny from this Hamas's murderous violence. Yeah, beheading babies. And you have left-wing organizations, Ivy League university groups, standing on the side of those poor, oppressed Palestinians. It is awful. But this is also a clarifying moment. I have no doubt that some leftists have been shaken to reality by this absolute barbarism and this support by leftist groups and individuals for this barbarous atrocities and Hamas, which is obviously a murderous terrorist organization. But I mentioned this previously, it remains the case. The only oppression that the Palestinians is suffering is from Islam. It is awful. So, social justice fascism. Members of the squad refusing to utterly and unambiguously condemn the mass violence, the killing, deliberate targeting and killing of innocents in very horrific circumstances. Ivy League universities, offering their support. In city around the world, Toronto, New York City, Sydney Opera House, hundreds, thousands of Palestinian Arab supporters and their left-wing supporters voicing their support for this murderous violence, as somehow it could be justified. And in the minds of these pointy-headed elites, Israel and the state of Israel is some colonialist enterprise, and those poor displaced Palestinians, it is a lie. It is a slanderous lie. Time and time again, Israel has tried to make some negotiated settlement with these Palestinians. And I mentioned on the previous video, in Hamas's charter, it explicitly rejects any negotiated settlement. It explicitly calls for the complete destruction of Israel. And BLM has come out, Chicago BLM come out unambiguously in support of these murders. It shows you who they are, the clarifying moment. Sydney Opera House, thousands chanting, gas the Jews. Doesn't say liberate Palestine, free the Palestinians, two-state solution, gas the Jews. That tells you exactly what they want. And that's exactly what they do want. They're not hiding the ball here. And so I think leftists, it may have indeed taken something as awful as this to wake these people up to see how awful this leftist ideology, but yes, fascism for social justice. And when I speak of fascism, Hitler was a fascist. Well, guess who else supported Hitler's Second World War and his murderous, anti-Semitic, genocidal agenda? Yeah, the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem. What's that pinhead's name now? Grand Mufti Haj Amin Al-Husseini, right? That's the guy. Before escaping off to Germany in Berlin, because the Palestinian areas were managed by Britain, this guy, pardon me, I'm trying to find my page here. I need to refer to it later. This guy met Eichmann, head of the SS, right? Heinrich Himmler, met also with Hitler, discussing detailed plans to exterminate the Jews in the Muslim world. This guy, a Grand Mufti, so he's a scholar, and this guy was the chairman of the Arab Higher Committee before fleeing off to Berlin for the war, because he sided with the Nazis. And because he himself, of course, was a murderous fascist and knew about the murderous plans, an active supporter, and he wanted it done. So, put together a Waffen SS division of Muslims, and they were killing Serbs in Yugoslavia and exterminating Bosnian Jews. This guy was behind that. There was a plan, several Eastern European countries to, I guess we have to kill the adult Jews, but can we just let the little Jewish children go? And the plan was to release, several thousand German soldiers, and in exchange, the Nazis would allow these little Jewish children free passage to Palestine. No. Husseini, he vetoed that. He put his foot down, had a little fucking fascist tantrum. They reversed course. The little Jewish kids were sent off to concentration camps. They died. They were murdered. And you know what? I heard the other day somebody comparing what just happened in Israel to the Einsatzgruppen in Nazi Germany. German soldiers lining up, men, women, and children, shooting them and throwing their bodies into shallow graves. Awful, horrific, inexcusable. But they did not go about raping women and cutting the heads off of babies, burning people alive. No, they did not. Horror show, yes. You know who they're emulating here? They're emulating the great Prophet Muhammad. ISIS, sex slaves. Hamas, raping. Muhammad had sex slaves. Definitely had sex slaves. He married a 6-year-old girl, consummated the marriage when she was 9. 9-year-old girls can't consent to marriage, and nor can they consent to sexual involvement with a grown man. Yeah, Muhammad did exactly that. He murdered innocent prisoners, cut their heads off, slaughtered millions. His Muslim army and himself murdered millions. And yes, global jihad. And, Amin Al-Husseini, well, the guest of the Nazis in Berlin, he had a regular radio broadcast, right? Radio broadcast. This is an example of Husseini's work. Arabs of Syria, Iraq, and Palestine, what are you waiting for? The Jews are planning to destroy you. The Jews are planning to violate your women, to kill your children and destroy you, and more. Kill the Jews, burn their property, destroy their stores, annihilate these base supporters of British imperialism. And now these Muslims, it's, Jewish imperialism in Israel, and yet burn houses down to the ground, slaughtering innocent civilians. He left out the rape part, but, as a warrior for Allah, you can figure out from yourself because you understand that the Quran allows for it. Muhammad did exactly that. You are being lied to. The fascists in this particular equation, Hamas, these social justice warriors, the true believers here, in the wake and in the face of this horror, continue to support this barbarism. No, this isn't liberalism. These people aren't liberals. They're fascists for social justice. Oh, and Hamas has just come out to ask for a global day of jihad. Yeah, sure, send some donations, but what they really want is blood. Global day of jihad. And Hamas, that militant organization, basically a cat's paw for Iran, is attacking from the north, attacking from Lebanon into Israel. Very dark and disturbing times ahead. Joe Biden needed to exert much stronger leadership. He should have warned Iran, no attack from your puppets, Hezbollah, or there's going to be consequences. And then there needed to be consequences. This guy is always vacillating. And Israel is an island of sanity and freedom and democracy and the rule of law and human rights in the Middle East. Queers for Palestine. These people think that, they can wave the banner of LGBTQ plus in the Palestinian territories, in the West Bank, Gaza. They will get killed. They kill people. They throw them off of buildings. I did a video about this some time ago. A young Palestinian kid had his head cut off with a fucking rusty knife. So, leftists, they're disastrously wrong on absolutely everything, and including this. Anyways, you want to understand this Israeli-Palestinian conflict, you want to understand the murderous ideology that's fueling it, which is Islam, read my book. I read countless books to write my book. amongst all the many other ridiculous ideas of this poisonous leftist ideology, I drilled down extensively into Islam, to Muhammad, the murderous armies of his, and into the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And cards on the table. When I started writing the book, I knew where Israel was, Palestinian, knew about the conflicts. I didn't really understand it at any length. I thought, well, there's smoke, there's fire, there's all sorts of talk about Israeli oppression. There must be some truth to it. No, it's a lie. Absolute lie. Absolute lie. But pointy-headed leftists in the university, they've been fed nonsense for decades, from kindergarten all throughout school. But fortunately, people are standing up. The Biden administration obviously felt compelled. Members of the Democratic Party are turning askance at, squad members and their refusal, and more people are recognizing this cancer for what it is. My prayers are with the people of Israel and those hostages. So yes, Deconstructing Social Justice, it's available on Amazon. Not important because I wrote it. I wrote it because the issues could not be more important. Thank you so much for your time and attention now. Bye-bye.